don't think we realize how much we are connected spiritually, physically, emotionally together as one. We think of ourselves as having a body and then having emotions, not really thinking that our emotions affect our body. You have to understand we store all that trauma. So any sort of even emotional pain is going to be stored in the body. And they have found sensors in the brain that are actually very similar. Emotional pain, say some sort of emotional trigger that brings up some trauma, is actually very similar to something like getting hit in the face. How we are so connected emotionally to our physical body. But I think a lot of the times we don't realize how much our mental health is so important. I went to school to become a therapist. Did not finish, and I'm glad I didn't, because people in there were crazy. But I really believe that everyone should talk to someone, because I think that in life we have obviously like emotional pain, and we need to let that out. And if we don't, it stores in our body, and I feel like we start having physical symptoms. And there's a lot of spiritual books that say that diseases and things, there are actual studies that show like heart attacks are linked to stress. It doesn't start as a physical thing, it starts as a mental thing. It starts inside the head, and then it comes out to a physical thing. Your life, anything that is toxic emotionally or spiritually, is going to affect your physical health. And I bring this up because I was dealing with a company that I was in Costa Rica, that the refrigerator didn't work, and the person was just like, wasn't going to fix it, wasn't going to do anything. And I've built a number of businesses, and anytime that anything has ever gone wrong, it's always full refund. That is part of business. It's like, and I've sold water softeners that were $2,000, and people would complain, and a lot of times, sometimes people would actually claim they never got it. And even though it shows that they got it, and I know they got it, I still have to give them a refund. That's just the way it is. And then when you're dealing with this company, triple company that everyone uses, and they're not siding with you and claiming that you're making up. Why would I make that up? Like that, I said, and I'm in a country where I don't have a car to go get an Uber for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's just ridiculous. All the food is just like, I'm throwing food away, and me out of this, and let me find a place to refrigerate. Hours and on the phone with them, and hours on the phone with the host, and it didn't get me anywhere. Like, these people were not gonna budge. I was thinking, how do you have a company like that who doesn't give anything about their customer, and then you have a company like Amazon, who there's so many times, I'm sure if you guys have used Amazon, sometimes I would order a product and I'd say I didn't get it, and I just didn't, they shipped it over to the other side of the house or something, and then I realized I got it, and Amazon was like, they never said show me proof, they just said okay, we'll ship you another one. And this being an Amazon seller, I was the one paying for that. Like, I was the one that was selling products. When a customer would say they didn't get it, like, I was out of the product, and like, wasn't like Amazon was paying full price for it. Amazon knew that the customer was the end goal here, was they were the winners. Like, no matter what they say, they're right. And that's what they say in sales and business, is like, the customer is always right. And when I'm having a person tell me that I am making it up, refrigerator isn't working, a company check refrigerator, because that's one thing I don't ever check. Like, I just assume that it says it's working, I assume. And then you put cold food in there. Like, if it's just just basically, like, imagine like those cold things, and they store, like, so the food will be cold and it'll stay cold for like maybe a day or 2 days and 3 days. And I had like cold drinks. And so by like day 4, I realized that it wasn't cold. It was like by day 3, I was thinking this is kind of warm. And then I tried turning it up, and regardless, like, you have to check all these things now, I realize. So, and you would assume that they would have said, you know what, you're right, refund, we'll find you another place. And I was on the phone with all these people, and I woke up today and I felt like I was like hit by a bus. I felt like I was hungover. I felt like I had gone out drinking last night, and I don't drink. And I felt like depressed. I started crying for my dog. I was like, emotionally affected me, physically it affected me, spiritually affected me, everything. It was, what I realized is like, if I'm not the only one that has had this problem, and I'm never going to use them ever again. And two, the host is not going to last, because if that was anyone else, I'm sure they would complain too for not having a refrigerator. Like, it was going to take her 7 days to fix it. I'm not staying in here for 7 days without one. Sorry. Like, I'm paying full price. And but then sometimes you realize is like, it's just lost cause. The money amount worth my like fight. And sometimes I think we like to, if you're like me, you get stubborn and you're like, I'm not going to back down. Sometimes I think a sign of maturity is to realize when to like choose your fights, and then when to kind of like when to give up. If it's something that you dream, like your dreams, of course, like don't give up. And I could tell that when I talked to like 5 people from the company and they all gave me the same thing, I realized like it's dead end, because they are told from higher ups what to do in the situation. The host was already knew what to do. And so I was like, I'm out. I look at everything. It's like, it's always a learning lesson. So the moment I get into a place now, I check the refrigerator. And then also they said that I didn't document. I documented it later, like 7 days, I didn't complain about it until like 7 days later. And I'm thinking, well, that long for me to realize, like, when you get like trapped down into these people that they're not going to give up. Am I willing to put my emotion, my spiritual health and mental health at risk? And I realized, like, waking up this morning and I felt so drained. I felt hungover. I think people have talked about this is they feel like if you're like an introverted person like me, and you go into like an event that's like very social, you're like talking to a lot of people, you come home and then you wake up and you feel really drained, like you get zapped, like people will zap your energy. And that's what this was happening, was I was getting zapped. And then I was thinking, got a refund, and then it was like, it's not even worth it, like money. But it was like, is the principle really that important for me? This person, whatever, they let that person do what they like. They're not going to last very long like that. The company isn't going to last very long. More and more people are going to get, if they treat people like that, they're not going to last. I always say, like, sometimes you have to just let it go. And I think that growing up and getting older, well, who knows the things, like if I would have kept fighting this, maybe I would end up drinking. You lower your vibration to other things that are other lower vibrational things, instead of keeping your vibration high and attracting in like positive things into your life. And that's, I think, the number one goal here is to raise your vibration, raise your consciousness, and to keep it raised. Because these things like this we can't control them, but we can control if we want to stay fighting and down into these low vibrational states, or let them go and just like cut the cord and be like, you know what, I can attract more into my life, and I can attract better into my life than I have. And I haven't felt like this for a while. So people are going to complain, right? But I realize is like, I kept thinking, well, customers is number one, right? Customers is the number one. This is the number one thing you learn in business school. And they were clearly missing the mark on all angles. And sometimes you have to just let it go. Just letting it go, I felt so much better this morning, just because I like mentally can let it go. With meditation, with like, we hold on. And a lot of times, like if someone burns you, let's say someone like, hurts your feelings, or someone does something like backstabs you, and you hold this grudge all day about them, and you're just keeping yourself in this low vibration, and it's eating you up. And it's like, this person is moved on, and here you are affected by it. That allowing yourself to be affected by it. How do we not allow ourselves to be affected by these things? Because they're always going to come into it, no matter what. It could be the host, it could be a product, especially if you're trying to start a business, things are going to happen like this all the time. But I think it was a learning lesson to me. Customer is number one, and that's how you grow a brand. That's how you grow a product, right? And just be like, boom. And so it always catches up. Like any business that I ever did, drop shipping and water softener business, and most of the times it was like, when you refund, then they like recommend you to like 5 people. So I ended up making back like on a $2,000 water softener, let's say, and you sell them for what? We buy them for like $500, and then shipping was like $200. So you're making like $1,200, $1,300, and you give it back to them. And let's say they say they never got it, or their part was broken, and you just give it to them for free. Then they tell 5 other people who actually buy it, and then I just profited like 5 times. But if I would have fought that, and I used to fight those things, nothing would happen. I'd end up in the same spot. Like, I wouldn't win. Sometimes you can't win. Like, you could say, well, I'll fight to the end. Like, yeah, but what expense? And are you going to put your emotional, spiritual, mental health at at risk. And physical health, like I felt like sick, and I still feel it. I feel like hungover, and like I haven't felt this way. Like I've been grieving, but our emotions are tied to our body, dwelling on it so much that it was affecting my body in a way. I think that's why meditation is so important, because it allows us to let go of things, and we learn to let go of things. And I think that when we can let go of things, it allows us to focus on at better things, higher vibrating things, and allows us to bring in higher vibrating people, better than the people for us in our life, and to attract things that we want in our life. I just wanted to make this video really quick, because the customer is always number one, no matter what. And out of any business I've ever had, and out of 10 different dropshipping businesses, no matter what, they always got the product. And if you know PayPal would always give them the refund. Like no matter what, they never sided with me. I could show them all the proof in the world, and PayPal would say, well, they're the customer. That people have been like abusing the system in a way. They were told from high up that, hey, people are abusing it, and this is what they're saying, and they're saying it to try to get a free ride or something. I don't know, but it's already over with, and from here on out, it's done for me. So I don't even, like, whatever happens, I don't even care. And I think that sometimes in life, with like relationships and whatever, and we just move on. Anyways, I think that a constant learning experience, constant reminder of what is important, things that what we focus on do affect, how they do affect us in a positive or negative. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'm sure you've had things like this happen. They happen all the time. So, but to me, I think as you get better at like staying away from it or sorting it out, I think we get better at just like dodging it, avoiding it. All right, let me know what you guys think.